Her name was Margaret. She's been gone a long time, and when she went, she took a whole way of living with her. Margaret raised 6 children on one man's paycheck, in a little house with a coal stove, and she never thought of herself as poor, because she knew things. Things her mother taught her at the kitchen table that she never wrote down, because everybody just knew them. She could stretch $1 until it hollered. She could feed 8 people on what we throw out today, and every one of those tricks is nearly gone now. Number 11, fed her whole family for a week off, one Sunday roast. Number 5, threw away nothing, not even the bones. And number 1, sat on the back of her stove her entire life. These are 20 money saving tricks only women like Margaret knew, and we forgot. Number 20, the button tin. Every house had one, usually an old cookie tin or a coffee can, and it held buttons, snaps, hooks, bits of string, rubber bands, and safety pins, saved off of everything before it was thrown out. When a button popped off your school shirt, your mother didn't buy a new shirt. She opened the tin, found one close enough, and sewed it on in 2 minutes. Nothing that could be used again ever left that house. That tin was thrift you could hold in your hands, and near every one of them got tossed out when its owner passed. Number 19, newspaper on the windows. Margaret never bought a special glass cleaner in her life. A little vinegar and water in a bowl, a rag to wash, and then, here's the secret, a wad of crumpled newspaper to wipe it dry. It left the glass streak, free and squeaking clean, and the paper was free, already read, on its way to the trash anyway. Store-bought sprays and paper towels replaced it, and folks pay good money now for what she did with yesterday's news. Number 18, cloth, never paper. There were no paper towels flying off the roll. There were cloth napkins, washed and folded. There were dish rags and cleaning rags, and when a shirt or a towel finally wore out past mending, it didn't get thrown away either. It got cut into rags and lived a whole second life, wiping up spills and polishing shoes. A roll of paper towels would have struck Margaret as pure foolishness, buying something just to use it once and throw it away. Number 17, powdered milk. Fresh milk costs money, and with 6 children, it went fast. So Margaret kept a box of powdered milk, mixed up a batch, and blended it half and half with the fresh in the jug. The children never knew the difference, and 1 gallon did the work of 2. It was the kind of quiet arithmetic she did all day long, small savings, over and over, that added up to keeping everybody fed. Number 16, saving the foil and the bread bags. A sheet of aluminum foil got wiped off, folded, and used again until it fell apart. Wax paper too. The bags the bread came in were shaken out and saved in a drawer, and they held sandwiches and leftovers for weeks. Glass jars became drinking glasses and storage. In Margaret's kitchen, almost nothing was single-use, because single-use meant paying twice for the same job. Number 15, haircuts at the kitchen table. There was no barber money for 6 children. There was a chair pulled into the middle of the kitchen, a towel around the shoulders, a comb, and a pair of scissors. It wasn't a fancy cut, but it was across a childhood, plenty of you remembering that towel around your neck right now. Number 14, the mending basket. By the chair in the front room sat the mending basket, and it was never empty. In the evening, Margaret darned the holes in the socks over a burned-out light bulb, sewed the buttons back on, patched the knees, and let out the hems as the children grew. A hole in a sock meant you fixed the sock. It did not mean you bought new socks. Mending was just part of the evening, as normal as the radio playing. Number 13, 1 bottle of vinegar for the whole house. Margaret didn't have a cabinet full of a different cleaner for every job. She had a jug of plain white vinegar. It cut grease, it cut odors, and it cost pennies. Today, folks buy a dozen specialty sprays to do what she did with 1 cheap jug she kept under the sink. Number 12, the garden and the canning. Out back was the garden, And it wasn't a hobby, it was food. Tomatoes, beans, corn, squash, put in every spring and tended all summer. And come the harvest, Margaret spent long hot days over a boiling canner, putting it all up in jars. Green beans, tomatoes, pickles, jam, so the cellar shelves were full for winter. A family that grew and canned its own food, cut the grocery bill nearly in half, and ate better doing it. Number 11. One Sunday roast, all week long. This was a masterpiece of thrift. Margaret bought one good roast for Sunday dinner, and that single piece of meat fed the family for a week. Sunday, it came out whole and beautiful, the centerpiece of the table. Monday, the slices went into sandwiches for lunches. Tuesday, what was left got chopped and fried up into a hash with potatoes. Wednesday, the last of the meat went into a soup or a pot pie. And then, this is the part we've completely forgotten, the bone itself went into a pot of water with an onion and simmered all day into a rich broth, and that broth became Thursday's soup. 1. Roast. 4. 5 different meals. She could look at a single cut of meat and see a whole week of suppers because she had to, and because throwing away good food was something she simply would not do. There is not a restaurant on earth that stretches $1 the way that woman stretched a Sunday roast. Take a quick second here. Margaret would be embarrassed at what a modern kitchen throws in the trash in a single week. If this is making you miss somebody who could stretch $1 like that, tap the like button. It's how YouTube knows to carry this to more folks who were raised by women like her. And send it to somebody in your family who'd remember. Number 10. Turning the collars. When the collar on a man's dress shirt wore thin and frayed at the fold, while the rest of the shirt was still perfectly good, you didn't throw the shirt out. Margaret took her seam ripper, carefully removed the collar, turned it over, and sewed it back on with the worn edge hidden underneath. Good as new, and another year of Sundays out of that shirt. That's the level of make-do we've lost, repairing a collar to save a whole shirt. Number 9. Baking soda did a dozen jobs. Right beside the vinegar was a box of baking soda, and it was just as busy. It scrubbed the pots in the sink. It took the smell out of the icebox. It freshened the rugs before sweeping. It cleaned and it deodorized all over the house for a few cents a box. Between the vinegar and the soda, Margaret kept an entire home spotless for what one bottle of modern cleaner costs today. Number 8. Making the soap last. When a bar of soap wore down to a thin sliver too small to use, it did not go in the trash. The slivers went into a jar, and when there were enough, Margaret pressed them together, warm and damp, into a brand new bar. The little scraps most folks throw away without a thought, she gathered up into free soap. Nothing was too small to save. Number 7. The clothesline. There was no clothes dryer humming and eating electricity. There was a line strung across the backyard and a bag of wooden pins. Margaret hung every stitch of laundry out in the sun and the wind and dried for free in good weather, and in cold that wash went on the line, and the power bill stayed small because of it. Number 6. Stretching the hamburger. The pound of ground beef doesn't feed 6 children. Unless you know what Margaret knew. She stretched it. A handful of oats, or crumbled stale bread, or crushed crackers went into the meatloaf and the meatballs, doubling the size of the meal for pennies, and honestly making it taste better and hold together besides. That 1 pound of meat, stretched right, fed the whole table, and everybody left full. Number 5. Nothing was ever thrown away. Here is the heart of it. In Margaret's kitchen, there was almost no such thing as garbage. Vegetable peelings and scraps and bones went into a pot for stock. Stale bread became bread pudding, or got dried into crumbs, or toasted for the soup. Bacon grease was saved. We'll get to that. The little bit of leftover this and that became tomorrow's casserole. She looked at what most people call trash and saw the next meal in it. It wasn't about being poor, though money was always tight. It was a deep, bone-level belief that food was precious, that it cost somebody's labor to put it on the table, and that wasting it was almost a kind of sin. She would be genuinely paying to stand in a modern kitchen and watch good food scrape straight into the can. None of this was about being cheap. It was about respect for what you had and what it took to get it. If that lands with you, share this video with the brothers and sisters and cousins who grew up in a house that wasted nothing. It might be the reminder they didn't know they needed today. Number 4. Feed sacks became clothes. In Margaret's early years, the flour and the chicken feed came in big cotton sacks printed with flowers and patterns, and the companies did that on purpose. Because they knew a farm wife would pick their brand for the prettiest cloth, nothing went to waste. Those sacks became dresses for the girls, shirts for the boys, aprons, curtains, and dish towels. She could turn the packaging her groceries came in into the clothes on her children's backs. Number 3. Heating one room. You did not heat the whole house. That cost a fortune in coal or oil, and Margaret wasn't about to burn money warming empty rooms. The family gathered in the one room with the stove, and that's where life happened on a cold evening. The bedroom stayed frigid, so you piled on the quilts, and on the coldest nights she'd warm a flat iron or a stone on the stove and wrap it to put down by your feet. You warmed the people, not the empty rooms. Number 2. Everything from scratch. There were no convenience foods, no boxes of this and bags of that, and it saved a tremendous amount of money. Margaret made her biscuits and her bread from flour that cost next to nothing. She made her soups and her sauces from scratch, cooking from raw, cheap ingredients. Flour, beans, potatoes, a little meat, instead of paying somebody else to do it in a package, was maybe the single biggest way she kept that grocery bill down. And it tasted like something no box ever had. Number 1. The bacon grease can. There it sat, on the back of the stove, her entire life. A coffee can or an old crock, holding the saved bacon grease, strained through a bit of cloth and kept for cooking. When Margaret fried the eggs in the morning, when she started the beans, when she greased the pan for cornbread, when she needed to add richness and flavor to a pot of greens, she reached for that can. It was free flavor, saved from the breakfast bacon that would otherwise have been poured down the drain. That can was the whole philosophy of her kitchen, sitting right there in plain sight. Waste nothing, save everything. Get 2 uses out of every single thing that passes through your hands. Almost every grandmother in America had one on the back of her stove. And when you understand that can, why it was there, what it meant, you understand a woman who could raise 6 children on almost nothing and make it look like plenty. Margaret had a saying, one her own mother handed down to her: use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. She lived every single word of it, not to prove a thing to anybody, but because wasting something you'd worked for felt wrong down in her bones. She never had much, but she never wanted, and neither did her children. She's gone now, and so is most of what she knew. So tap that like button if Margaret reminds you of somebody you loved. Share this with the ones who'd remember a woman just like her. And tell me down in the comments which of these did your mother or your grandmother do, and which one do you still do today. Subscribe, and I'll keep bringing these old ways back to life, one kitchen at a time.